Okay, the bill passes.
Ayes 12, noes 1.
That's 12 noes, 1. Okay, Senator McClellan, I apologize. We had called you before and you weren't here, and I didn't see that you came back. We're going to take up your bill. I'm going to go and present a bill in another committee, and Senator Reeves is going to take over the gavel.
Thank you. Apologize for that. I had to go give a proxy. Senate Bill 358 was a bill that was also requested by Kirk Showalter, who can give a little more detail on why it's needed. But basically, right now, local voting registrars have to advertise every voter registration event they attend or sponsor, even if they just attend as an invitee and they are not the actual sponsor. And even if that event is at a place that is closed to the public, like a high school. And as a result, our registrars have had to either decline invitations to participate in a voter registration drive, particularly at high schools, unless they advertise, which it can be a fiscal burden. This made sense when the voter registration laws were first put in place, and the only place you could go to register was with the registrar. But now it has actually put us in an odd position where the local election expert cannot even come to a registration drive to talk about voting or voter registration, even if she's just an attendee and not sponsoring that event. And so I put this bill in to fix that problem, and Ms. Showalter can answer questions if I can't.
Mr. Chair.
Senator Dees.
With the school, I can understand what you're talking about, and that makes perfect sense, but can you give me an example of something other than a school where you might be called upon that's not open to the public?
Yes, sir. Richmond frequently has festivals. I think there's 2 or 3 a week these days, and some you have to pay to get into. I've been invited to participate in those festivals where I could reach a broad number of citizens with registering to vote, but it's not open to the public. I also have a very limited budget as far as advertising, and advertising in the Richmond Times-Dispatch is not cheap. There have been events that were sponsored in Capitol Square by groups. It was open to the public, but again, my budgetary constraints did not allow me to participate. I get around it by working with these groups and training them to do voter registration, but there's sometimes information that it's difficult to transmit quickly to these groups that I or my staff, if we were there and on site, would be able to more effectively address. This does not in any way, shape, form, or fashion relieve us from the obligation, if we do a voter registration drive, of advertising it and opening it to the public. It just gives us more flexibility to work when we're invited to participate in some function.
Does that answer your question, Senator Dees? You good?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Any other member of the committee have a question on this bill? Anybody in the audience wish to speak to the bill? Step on up, ma'am.
Is this all right with me? You think so?
Mr. Chair, members of the committee, in Fairfax County, we see similar obstacles as Kirk Showalter does in the city of Richmond, specifically with regards to the amount of money that's needed to advertise when we do events, more specifically being the only jurisdiction in the Commonwealth that's required to publish notices, not just in English but in Spanish, and as well as Vietnamese and additionally Korean that we have taken on ourselves. Anytime that notice is put out, we have to put it in those newspapers that circulate in those languages. So removing a little bit of an obstacle and financial obstacle to publish whenever we need to do drives like this is greatly appreciated.
Hi, I'm Diana Dutton, Deputy Registrar in Fauquier County. Everybody has stated the benefits of this, and as a member of the Legislative Committee, we support the bill.
Okay. Thank you. You want to wrap it up, Senator McClellan? Is there anything to wrap up with?
I mean, I think it's just to make clear this applies to events that the registrar is not him or herself sponsoring, but has been invited to as an attendee, or is at a place that is not open to the public, such as a school. So it's very limited.
Gotcha. Okay, with that, the committee operates on motion. Senator Deeds. The motion is to report. Is there a second? Okay, seconded by Senator Howe. The bill is probably for us. Committee will vote.
Ayes 5, noes 7.
Ayes 5, no 7, the bill fails.